We are told everything's written. It's your destiny. And then, of course, we're told, do your sadhana for the future. So where does destiny end and our actions, good actions or bad actions, begin? Because if everything's already written, then why bother, right? I mean, why not just sit in front of the TV and eat potato chips and wait until we die? Destiny, that which is written up until now, because everything only matters as of the present moment, where we are right now. That which is destined up till now is that which you currently have. You can't change it. You can't rewind your life and plant an orange seed instead of an apple seed and end up with an orange tree instead of an apple tree. But what you're going to have tomorrow and next week and next year depend on what you plant today. So this is where free will comes in. Where I'm sitting right now, I'm sitting here because it's my destiny. No point complaining, no point grumbling, moaning, my stars are in the wrong place, this, that. No. The sum total of my actions from past lives, from earlier this life, the sum total of what we call our destiny, has brought me to this moment. But where I'm going to be in my next moment is based on how I use this moment. And that's why the cultivation of wisdom and discrimination is so important. Because if we don't have wisdom and discrimination, the ability to discriminate between truth and falsehood, not the discrimination that says white and black or Eastern and Western, but discrimination between truth and falsehood, between that which is real and that which is illusory. If we don't have those, then we make decisions that continue to get us in places we don't want to be. I'm allergic to apples, but I keep having apple trees sprout up in my garden. Is it because, you know, I was born under the apple constellation or something? That's how most of us think about it. Oh, it must have been I was, you know, it's my stars. I'm always only going to have apple trees. And no, it's because due to my lack of clarity and wisdom and purity, not inner purity, because we're all perfectly pure on the inside, but purity from ego and desires and grudges and pain and that which we're holding on to. Because of my lack of purity from that, I continue to plant these apple seeds. I have apple trees. Now that doesn't mean that it's a direct correlation. You know, some of us, when we think of karma, we think of it very directly. And of course, the examples I've given are very direct. Plant an apple seed, get an apple tree. We think of karma, I hit you, you're going to come back and hit me. Like, you know, the code of Hammurabi, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. I give you a black eye, tomorrow somebody's going to give me a black eye. It's not like that. It's that the sum total of what I've done has brought me to where I am. Can't change it. Can't go backwards. Where I need to go from here, that's what the universe has sent me, based on what has happened in the past. What's up to me now is how I take what I've been sent. So if I've got an apple tree and I'm allergic to apples, I need to find out, why is it that unknowingly, unconsciously, dreaming of oranges, chanting mantras for oranges, visualizing oranges, I continue to have apple trees pop up? We take out of our mind the idea that the universe is against us, that our stars are in the wrong place, that we're a perpetual victim. And we start to look at what's the lesson here. Not that it's my fault. This is a very important distinction. Otherwise, we turn around and we say it's your fault. Oh, something bad happened to you, must be your fault. No. That which happened to you happened because that was the most conducive thing to happen, to propel you into your next step of awakening. The question, though, is how are you going to use that? How can you use this apple tree, even though you think you didn't like it, you think you're allergic to apples, every time you eat them you break out in hives, how can you use this apple tree to get closer to God? And the minute you learn that lesson, miraculously, you start to find yourself with a handful of orange seeds that you're able to plant. But the apple trees are going to keep coming until you've learned to make peace with apples. Doesn't mean that you magically make your allergy go away, but that you've learned to make peace with the apples. And that's the role that our actions play. Just very, very quickly, I want to conclude with a piece about this that I actually just read a few days ago, and it was so exciting to me because my background is science. And whenever science tells us something that fits in with what spirituality has been telling us for thousands of years, it excites me. We have always believed, at least the science that has been around in our lifetimes, has believed that we are really a product of our genes. You've got a gene to be tall, you're going to be tall. You've got a gene to be short, you're going to be short. You've got a gene for this, you're going to be that. That everything is sort of in our genes. Oh, I can't do anything about it, it's in my genes. Well, what science has discovered quite recently is that actually genes have no mechanism to turn themselves on or off. Genes are like protein-making factories. That's what they do. They're like blueprints for making the proteins that create our system. But they don't actually turn themselves on or off. Something in the environment reacts with the membrane of that cell that starts a whole reaction that I don't understand because I'm not a biologist, but it starts a whole reaction that ends up turning a gene on or preventing a gene from being turned on. And the reason I love that is the environment of a cell is what? The bloodstream. What determines what's in our bloodstream? Well, everything ranging from what we eat to what we think. That which we eat enters our blood. But so do all of the hormones in our body. So you're under stress, you're secreting a lot of cortisol, that's floating around in your blood. That's now the environment for your cells. So science is now coming around and saying your life is not determined by your genes. It's determined by the environment that your cells sit in that will either turn these genes on or off. You can actually make about 30,000 different proteins from one gene. The genes of a caterpillar and a butterfly are the same. Nothing changes in the DNA. Look at the DNA of a caterpillar, look at the DNA of a butterfly, they are exactly the same. So when you think about karma and destiny, well, my destiny up till now is my genes. But I've got the whole spectrum, all the way from caterpillar to butterfly, that those genes will create. And it's all dependent on what the environment I build that my cells sit in is. So that's all in our hands.